It's Reality Check with Craig Price.
I'm an idiot.
4 minutes in and I'm already wrong.
I'm like a monkey. Hello, look at me. Craig, shut up. Hey, I need you guys to do these things.
You're like a beautiful mind. I'm more like Forrest Gump. So it's...
Welcome to another Reality Check with Craig Price. Got a tremendous show for you this week. On the show, Tim Mathy from Speak Inc., one of the premier speakers bureaus in the country. He's going to talk to us about what it takes to book an event, what he's looking for in a speaker, what he's looking for in a customer and a client, how he thinks when he looks at a speaker, and what should you do and not do when you approach a bureau. Now, normally I try to make this podcast as accessible as possible, which means I don't really aim this specifically at a specific industry or a specific job. This is not a sales podcast. This is not a social media podcast. And maybe that's detrimental to myself. Maybe I should niche more. But I'm not a niche kind of guy. I've got too many interests. I like too many things. I try to keep it as broad as possible. This one in particular, if you are a speaker or you really want to be a speaker, this is the one you want to listen to, because Tim Mathy he gives us a reality check. Exactly what this show is for, the honest, open approach of what it really is, the real facts behind a speakers bureau, what they're really doing as a speakers bureau. How do you interact with them as a speaker? How do they want you to interact with them? Because believe me, there are people doing what they want to do when it comes to speakers bureaus, and they're not getting booked by these bureaus because they just don't have what they're looking for, or they don't have the mindset. They don't understand exactly what a bureau is supposed to do. A lot of people think it's a golden goose that's supposed to lay eggs as soon as you get signed up. That's what I always hear. Craig, you need an agent. Well, an agent is different than a bureau, because a bureau works for themselves. An agent works for you. And a lot of people get that confused. They think as soon as they get one with a bureau, they're going to make millions of dollars. Then there's my favorite is the circuit. Craig, are you on the speaker circuit? And as far as I know, there is no circuit per se. You don't really go out and do 16 cities in 10 days or 20 days or whatever unless you book them separately. Very rarely. It does happen, but very rarely do you get one deal where you just got to go to 5 different places or 10 different places. It does happen. But most people, if they're going all over the country, it's because they have scratched and clawed and marketed and sold and got those things together themselves. It's not just one big boom. Craig, you're on the circuit. All life is easy now. And I think a lot of people believe that as soon as a bureau is on their radar, that the bureau is going to save them. And it's really not. It's another tool. It's a valuable partner, but it's not a saving grace. It's not a save all, be all, end all. And Tim really opens up about how he likes to be interacted with, what he expects from speakers. And so I'm going to get right to it because Tim really did a great job. It's a great interview. Again, send this to all your speaker friends. Send this to all your friends that you think want to be speakers, because this one they will learn so much just in the next 35 minutes. So without any further ado, let me give you Tim Mathy. You were presenting it from 2 to 4, right?
No, it was a speed dating.
A speed dating.
Speed dating. So they had speakers come and talk to speakers bureaus about how to work together.
Okay, so how many people did you actually end up talking to?
12 of them, and a lot of it was for the NSA Foundation. So
okay,
it was a good cause at the end of it.
So did you know anybody before you?
I did, and that was kind of the interesting part. I'm like, why should they really have to pay for this if they already know who I am? So maybe they can fix it that way because they already work together. So it's like, sit there and have a casual conversation.
That's for NSA Foundation.
Exactly.
So, and for those of you who don't know, I'm here with Tim Mathy of Speak Inc., based out of San Diego. But you were one of the premier speakers bureaus in the country.
Well, thank you. We hope to be. So.
Well, I like to think that. And full disclosure, I do have to say that your organization has hired me before and actually has contracts on me. I feel like I'm in the mafia. Has contracts for me in the future. So, I mean, we do business together, and hopefully that will not bias my talk with you.
No, and our check's clear, so that's a good thing.
Your checks show up.
Yes, there you go.
No, there are other speakers bureaus which I will not name where I've had to fight for months just to get a small fee that I did for discount. It's like I did a deal for them, I did a discount for them, I did a favor for them in short notice, and it took 9 months to get paid.
No, we try to pay on time.
No, with Speak Inc., I go to the event, and when I come home, I open my mailbox, and so far, 100% of the time, there's a check waiting for me.
That's our goal.
Which
so
I
glad
certainly
it shows
appreciate.
up.
So that's not always the case with bureaus. And the first question right out of the gate is going to be, well, why a speakers bureau with Google out there? And as a speaker, I have to say, I work with bureaus and I like bureaus, but I'd rather someone come with me direct so I don't have to pay commission.
Makes sense. Makes complete
Yeah.
sense.
So why would they use a bureau versus going direct?
Well, from a client's point of view, first off, we can maintain as far as like an insurance policy in case something happens. If you get sick or the speaker, whoever it might be, can't show up, we're there, kind of back up. But also, I mean, we know who's good, who's not, who's a pain to work with, who's easygoing. We can put all those things together. I probably see more speakers than you can imagine, and I just think it's easier that way.
You got the vetting process down because I maybe you can back me up or not. I've seen it kind of fluctuates, that especially now with the internet. There'll be a period of time where maybe not as many speakers bureaus are being used because people are going direct, but then they're getting burned and they're coming back to the bureaus.
Yeah,
because,
that's true.
Because it is tough to get a good speaker just because you look at their 9-minute video or whatever.
Yeah, it's hard to trust that even when they come to us. But I mean, at the end of the day, we already have relationships with Fortune 500 companies, large associations. We're working with their planners, so they're going to come to us to book those speakers because they can trust us, and that's kind of what works. I mean, it's tough for the speakers because they get their commission paid out to us, but we already have those relationships. So no matter who they call, and I have speakers who go, I contacted ABC company and they said, I need to contact Tim Mathy because that's who we work with.
Yeah.
And for other speakers too. I mean, they don't have to have a marketing department. If you do most of your work through bureaus or 100% of it, then you don't really need a staff there because a lot of it we're handling the sales process for you, which makes it easier if you can get to that point of doing most of your business through bureaus.
Right, and I also think there is a myth out there for speakers that if they can just get a bureau, my life will be fixed.
Not quite true.
No, it's not. I mean, a bureau is a great partnership to be in. I'm not going to lie to you there. I mean, I recognize the value of it, but it's not going to save you. And I always tell people, I use the analogy of you guys are like commissioners in sports. Now, the commissioner...
I haven't heard this one, so I'm curious.
Good, yeah, the commissioner's job is to ensure that the sport is healthy and moves forward. Right. That would be the event. So you want to make sure the event is the best event possible. And so but when it comes down to brass tacks, every commissioner is paid by the owners.
Correct.
That is the client.
Right.
So when they're really not selling speakers. They're finding speakers for the bureau. So a lot of people think, I'm going to get with Tim Mathy and he's going to sell for me.
Yeah, not true. I have so many speakers I sell for. I guess I'm more of a matchmaker.
Right.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I look at it. They come in and we send a couple ideas out who we think's good and easy to work with to kind of meet their needs. We're more of a matchmaker than just, I'm going to sell this speaker here and there. And one thing that's kind of weird with me is I know a lot of speakers, but my niche is all over. I book a ton of different types of speakers, from your motivational speaker to, athletes, big name comedians, you name it. I book all over the board. So it's not like, and some bureaus have more of a niche of what they book with. I don't, or Speaking doesn't as well.
And do you have agents that work for you that have the niche?
No.
Or is it we just service whatever the client is looking for at that particular time? Because maybe they need a comedian this week for some kind of awards banquet, but then they want a training session down the road.
We're all over. I mean, one day I can book, a former senator to a acrobats. I mean, from the same day. I mean, it's all over what we book.
Now, have you found that the internet, because it's totally different than it was 10, 15
Correct.
years ago, have you found, what are the challenges you found now that the internet is out there?
I mean, for us, we're not really worried about, where a speaker places him or herself. It's more about where Speaking places our own website. We're trying to build ourselves up organically through Google so we can position ourselves better when you look up Speakers Bureau or whatever it might be. We're not looking up, if they're looking up a specific speaker, we understand that speaker hopefully has their own page on there, and they should be number one. It's their page, but we're more for the general motivational keynote speaker thing rather than the individual speaker.
So walk me through the process of it, because you have all these great relationships,
right?
Which obviously is the core of your business, because that's every core business has to have solid returning clients.
Right.
But I'm a new guy. I'm a mid-sized association that's finally got a budget to break out and get some real speakers, so to speak. No more industry speakers.
Right.
We want someone who's got a little more entertainment value. So we call you up. Walk me through the process of what you would ask or what you would look for from a potential client.
Well, first they call us. We're happy with that.
Of course.
We want a budget. I mean, that's a good thing. But what we try to do is just ask them what they're looking for, topic, past speakers that have been good or bad. What their audience is like, be it demographic or number of people, whatever it might be. location, theme, to kind of make it a better fit as far as who we're sending out to them.
Because I found that sometimes, especially if they're brand new and they've never had a speaker before, because I'm kind of fortunate that I'm the first speaker they get because there's no competition.
Right, correct.
But they don't know what they want.
And they tell you what they want, and a lot of times they still don't know what they want.
Yeah, because I get on site and it's a completely different scenario.
Yeah, exactly. Or they'll tell you, I want something different, when they're, and then you send them something different, and they pretty much come back to the normal type speaker. So it's always unique. Half the time they don't know what they want, especially if they're dealing with committees.
Yeah.
And they go back to committees, and it's all over the board. So, I mean, you don't know. It's so all over. There's no rhyme or reason for what they really want. That's why it helps when you worked with them before, or you're going out to their events, see what they can do. You get a lot better feel as far as what they're looking for.
Now, do you personally go to events?
Yeah, one thing we probably do differently. I go, and probably more so me than anybody. I go to a lot of events. It's not necessarily to see who the speakers speak, which helps, but it's more to kind of be a fly on the wall to kind of get a feel as far as what the group looks like, what they react to. That type of thing really gives you a helpful hand for going forward. And plus, it just shows that you care as you're at the event.
And then, so when you follow up with them after the event to see how the speaker did, because, that's what they paid you for.
Right.
You can also, make suggestions for the following year.
You got it, correct. And if you're dealing with some big-name talent, you do a lot of hand-holding, and you do that for the client there, and that makes it easier for them, frees up their time.
Now, is there a more of a trend of a certain type of speaker out there that people have been looking for? Because I know it's a lot of content-driven, but I also see that there's a lot more what I call celebrity. Well, this is the one where they get burned the most, is
right.
with the celebrity speaker, because they want a person. I want Snooki. Snooki got like 30.
We all love the Jersey Shore. So
no, I don't. But she got paid a fairly large fee to speak at a college, which I don't. It must have been a trade
school.
It was
Rutgers, I think, actually.
Rutgers, good.
It may be wrong, so I don't want to kill Rutgers.
No, that's okay. But
I'm pretty sure it was Rutgers.
But it's not there. I mean, she didn't do the real speech. She did the fun speech beforehand. But when they say I want Snooki, can you sit there?
I always tell meeting planners, if you don't need a name, don't book it, because you're going to pay a lot more money, and there's a lot of speakers without name who are very, very good. But a lot of times, you're going to want to retain that for that closing keynote. You want somebody big name to be there to shake hands and do the meet and greet. A lot of times, I think they're there more for that aspect than the keynote. I mean, they're going to do the keynote, but that VIP meet and greet photo op is huge.
I think that's what Richard Petty does. That Richard Petty, he's not a great public speaker,
right?
But he will sign everything that comes by.
And some people, and the best ones are the ones who are great speakers, but they're also great off stage, where they're easy to handle, but they'll stand there hours and shake hands, do autographs, talk to anyone, because that's what people want, and you can't beat that.
And of course, through the vetting process, you can kind of figure out who the difficult speakers are going to be.
Yeah, and I go to a lot of them, so you see who's difficult, who's not, whatever it might be. But the ones that aren't, I mean, they're great to work with.
Yeah, they're out there too.
I call them no-brainer speakers. It's kind of a oxymoron there, but they come in, do their job, they're easy to work with, and they go home. They leave a good message.
And so when I go to an event, and I rarely see the agent there, so that's kind of, I guess that's good pressure for me. I don't have to worry about that. But, but the fact that you actually go, that separates you from your competition.
Yeah, because we don't really compete on fee. So
right, because it's all commission based on the fee of the person.
So it's all for, and I do a lot of networking relationships, so that really helps me to separate myself.
But do you see any trends in specific types of speakers that people are picking right now?
No,
more than more?
No, I wish there was. I mean, we hear so much of that. I mean, I think social media obviously is very popular. Emotional intelligence, for some reason, how the brain works, that's becoming more and more. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, you want a good speaker up there, whatever. And I call it, almost a roller coaster ride. Give some good content, make them laugh, bring some inspiration, some humor. If you can get all that down, you're in good shape.
All right. Well, now we're going to switch over to the other side of the story, because I know there's a lot of speakers who are going to be listening to this. And the big question I get when I said I want to talk to Tim Mathy, and they're like, oh my God.
Don't give him my number.
No, I won't give him your number, I promise. But that's the thing. How do they get in with the Bureau?
And that's hard. And
it is hard.
It's a terrible thing to say. I mean, some bureaus, and I don't do this. They'll take any calls, whatever it might be. The way we come to do it, and I think it's kind of a cool way, is we have on our website, if you want to, you have all this information, DVD, whatever, pay a fee. I'm not even sure what it is. I might misquote this. I think it's like $500. And then you can talk to a rep, and we'll look over stuff. Doesn't mean we're going to guarantee booking you, but we'll look over your material. But what we've done is we don't take that money. We give it back to the NSA Foundation. So it's just more of a time-saving thing for us. But don't send your information blindly. Honestly, it sucks. It sucks. I feel for speakers because You can send me stuff and tell me you're great. More than likely, I'm not going to look at it because I don't need more speakers. I need more clients. But
well, that's what I mean about the commissioner stick situation.
It's terrible. But if I send 4 or 5 ideas out to a client and they end up booking Joe Blow, who I don't know who he is, I guarantee you, I'm going to go find Joe Blow and find out who he is because he beat the people I sent out. Oh, that's the best way to get in with a speaker.
Steal work from you.
Yeah, but
I was going to bring that up. I was going to say, hey, one of the best ways to do it, in my opinion, is not necessarily find out who your clients are and steal them, but just happen to be someone gives, they have committees. And they go, oh, I saw Craig speak. Let's get Craig. And you're going to go, who the hell is this Craig guy?
Yeah, and
then you find out, oh, he does, and then they want him, so you're going to do what the client wants, unless you know for a fact that this guy's got a reputation that's bad or whatever.
But you start building a reputation. You hear this name out there in the market a lot, or other clients go, you know what, I heard this guy Craig speak before. Wow, he's really good. I'll look you up. And it sounds bad when other speakers refer another speaker. I really don't take it serious because I think they're just being nice a lot. Even great speakers. There was a speaker I won't.
No, you don't have to say names.
No, actually, I won't mind. Keith Harrell, who's passed away.
I work with Keith. Yeah, it's hard to follow Keith when you talk on my subject.
Exactly, but Keith used to always go, Tim, or I get a call from Joe Blow speaker again going, hey, Keith Harrell told me to call you. Keith Harrell. And I used to get all these calls going, Keith Harrell told me to call. And finally, I called Keith, and I go, Keith, you're killing me, man. You keep referring to all these speakers.
You're clogging up my voicemail.
Yeah, what's going on? He's like, and he was such a nice guy.
He's
so
super
giving
nice.
And gracious. But at the end of the day, I used to go tell the speakers. So I used to get all these calls. I go, you know what? If and I learned this from another speakers bureau guy who told me to do this. You tell Keith Harrell to call me directly to let you know how good you are, because he was just referring everybody.
Yeah,
and he was just such a nice guy.
No, and I had to follow him because it's really weird because he is his whole program was super positive, super positive, super positive,
super fantastic.
Yeah. And mine is not, and it's fun and people like it and it's got a lot of good content, but it's not the rah. Because I talk about the reality.
It's impossible to follow. I mean, but to do what he does.
Oh no, I know that, but I did follow. I had a great time. It was at the Government Society of Government Meeting Planners, and he did the rah thing, and then and then everybody filed into my session, and where I talk about, he's talking about you can do anything and be positive, and I go, well, that's not necessarily true. Life has tendency of causing problems and obstacles, and so. But it was really fun. I'm sorry. I guess I worked with him right before he passed away, so it was nice to finally meet him. But
great guy, great positive. I mean, all over the place.
Yeah, he was super fantastic.
Fantastic.
But it's hard to the referral process. It's really hard because I do know a lot of that's the biggest frustration that new speakers, not veterans, because they kind of know it's like a bank. They don't give you credit unless you have money, and you're not going to take the risk on someone you don't know.
Exactly, and if it affects me and my clients, and some bureaus will go out and they'll look at anybody, and I respect that and get it, but I can't even speak for my other people at speaking, but myself, I just don't do that because at the end of the day, I need more planners, not more speakers.
Right, because you have a plethora. I mean, I've seen your list of speakers.
We have thousands. I mean, thousands, and more people who want to call and be speakers, and I feel bad, but I'm just trying to be honest in the reality of what we're doing.
Yeah, no, that's what I want people to know because, like I said, that's the biggest frustration I think, and I also, like I said, I think that their ships come in as soon as the bureau books them. It's like, no, it's if you rely on bureaus too much, they're not selling for you.
Exactly. I agree completely. You can get burned. You're going to go broke because it's not. Yeah. I'm just focusing on one speaker. We're selling like I said, all types from an acrobat one day to a comedian to an economist to customer service speaker. You name it, we're all over the board. So it's not just one topic.
Now, I'll explain my relationship with Speak Inc., and you tell me how. Because this is why I host the show and not somebody else. But I think it's valid for a lot of people, especially when you've been used with a bureau. And how often do you follow up? Now, for me, I only follow up on event situations. So if you book me for an event, the first thing I do is sign the contract and then send it back to you. But then I'll quickly send an email to whoever the agent was, because you have various agents, and thank them. Hey, thanks for booking me. I appreciate it, because they certainly.
Fair enough.
Then we go through the motions of what my normal process, which I like about Speak Inc. is they don't really hover over what my process is.
I don't like to hover, and I don't understand why some bureaus want bureau-friendly websites or want to be on.
Well, they want to control
have to control the whole thing. For me, it's a trusting relationship. I'm going to work with speakers who we have a good relationship with, and if they burn me once, then once is too many. But it's simple. I'm going to send them to their website, or they want to talk to the client directly, email, phone.
Yeah.
A lot of times I'm in the way there, and I just step back and let them do what they do.
Well, that's why I brought it up, because I do know them. There's certain bureaus that want to. You have to schedule conference calls with the client through them. You got to send their emails through them.
Yeah, I don't want to deal with that.
But with you guys, I do the deal. I will go to the event. I will do my very best, which is often awesome. And then, especially for speaking, for some reason, I really pull out the guns.
We appreciate the extra effort on that, yes.
And, I do a good job, and then I'll call and give you my impressions. I'll call the agent and say, hey, I just finished up. I talked to so-and-so. If I have any, follow-up leads, like they're telling me about, 'cause often I'll hear, oh, well, we're going to have this awards banquet like 6 months from now. Would that be something you do? And, oh, yeah, I'll say, well, they talked about a lead,
right.
Spin. They call it spin-off business. And then, so I'll give that to you, and then I will leave you alone. I know a lot of people don't do that. And so I don't know what's correct, because I talked to I had a sales speaker on right before you came.
Right.
And for me, follow-up is kind of, I do it, but not as aggressive as some people think I should, because I just feel like I'm bothering you.
Right, and I do the same thing with the planners. It's a fine line of what you're walking there. And a lot of times, just keep your name on a radar. If you have some new information coming out, or if you have a monthly e-blast, that's fine. We receive that. We may look at it, we may not. But I don't need a, hey, how you doing today? We're just checking in to see if you had any business for me.
Well, that's
because if I did, I call you.
Well, that's what I hear at the. And it just boggles my mind, because I'm not a salesperson, so to do all the follow-up stuff, that's why I like bureaus, because they do a lot of that that groundwork that I hate. But I hear one of their biggest complaints about speakers is they call too often.
Yeah.
And it's not just that you get so many calls from different people; it's you get a lot of calls from one.
Yeah, I can get a
person.
call, once a week from a certain speaker every week, and it's like, I know who you are, but at the end of the day, it more annoys me than helps me. We want to build a trusting relationship. If you're, in our area, feel free to give us a call. Go, hey, I'm speaking here. And hopefully we can go see you live, or hey, I want to take you to lunch. I mean, we may or may not take you up on it, but that's more helpful than just saying, hey, how you doing? I'm just calling to say,
I'm begging
hey,
for business.
how you doing?
Hey,
yeah.
I'm begging for business.
Yeah, and even like you talked about the spin business, a lot of times, I'm not there. I booked with the original client, but the one who's looking for the spin, they don't know who Tim Mathy is, because may not be there, or I'm not on stage. You're, the speaker, Craig, might be the star after the event. So a lot of times, you follow up on that, or we'll work that as a team, because they know who you are, and I kind of come in cold.
Well, see, that's the other thing is I know some bureaus are very regimental about their spin. In fact, that's the first 3 questions they ask me when I tell them how I did. They go, oh, so they have anything else? Nothing else? You think they might use you in the future? It's like, well, I talked to them. They said I did a great job. I said, how often do you guys do this stuff? They say once a year. I don't have any more information than they do, because they have the relationship.
And a lot of times, we know who it is. And I've had instances where I worked with associations over the years, and, let's say 2007, I put the speaker in there, and I got 4 spins out of it from that thing. 2008, I got 6 spins. 2009, I got 3 spins. Then 2010, I got 0 spins. So either, at the end of the day, for me, there's only 2 things that happened there. The speaker sucked, or they didn't give me the spins, and and either way, both weren't good for me. So I look at it as
that's
but I'm not going to chase you down for these different businesses, or lead. That's kind of, I know what I got in the past, so I kind of expect this, if you're as good as you say, or what we've looked at, to get that business back, or you just didn't give it back to me.
So, on average in a week, and you may not have the accurate numbers, so you can just give me a guess. How often do you get solicited by speakers? I mean, how many different speakers send you
Myself
stuff?
or the company?
Just in general. Either one, whatever number you think you have a more accurate grasp of.
I can't really say how much as a company, because we'll just get a lot of envelopes that I don't even see. I don't know what they're come from, but I probably get 2 calls a day.
Really? So, well, that's quite a bit. That's
14.
Yeah, that's 10.
And
that's 10 a week. That's 520 calls a year.
And how many people in our company? That adds up too. So.
And so when you do find a speaker, because I've worked with you guys, and the stuff that you asked for me was very simple. A video, which you guys, digitize yourself.
Yeah, it's all online, yeah.
And one sheet. And it really hadn't asked for a lot of stuff, and you certainly didn't ask for hard copies.
No, well, we still use that stuff, but I often tell speakers, if you have 100, marketing dollars, put 99 of that into your DVD or video. Really, the one sheet's fine, but they're going to look over that video, go, yes, no, maybe. And you really got to make that thing, good. If you're making a joke, you got to have a mic in the audience. Make them laugh. They got to know you're laughing, whatever it is. If you're doing a gig, even if you're doing like a pro bono gig, see if you can get some good taping in there, since you're doing it for free, they can go out and tape your video for to help you out of bureaus. If you want to work with bureaus, you have to have a good online DVD.
So that's the number one thing for any, which of course makes perfect sense because you got to prove you can speak.
Exactly, and that's still, it's still not 100%. It's so hard to make that video. It's such a fine line. But if you can do a good video, I mean, it's going to help you get places.
In fact, my first video that I did, it was one of those situations because a good video is hard to come by. Even when you pay good money,
exactly,
it doesn't come out right sometimes. So my very first years ago, my first video, it sounded like I had a laugh track. It didn't.
I gotcha.
But the sound was so bad, it sounded like that. And so when a bureau would ask me for I remember a bureau in Boston asked me for it, and then he emailed me back and said, "Does this have a laugh track on it?" I said, "I swear to God, it doesn't." But he can't show that to anybody because it does look like I'm not funny. I'm faking it.
And a lot of times too, before you get that video, all the money put in, and I say this, so you want to make it a win-win situation. Feel free to call, say, other bureaus, but I have to say, if I work with you, you call me and go, "Hey, I put this video together. I'm thinking about making it public. Can you look it over real fast? It's 10 minutes. I'll be happy to look it over because I want to book you and I want to be successful for both of us. And if there's, you said the laugh track thing is off or whatever, I'll be honest with you on what I think. It's just my opinion, but I've seen a lot of videos, hopefully, to make it work on what my clients like."
No, well, thank God I found out that you had it on. This was like a year or two ago. I had it on, and one of your... I go, "Oh my God, that's the wrong one."
Yeah,
because I do have a new one, and I sent it to you guys, and things happen. You guys have more than me to deal with.
Yeah, I know.
What do you care about my?
You
video?
are number one, Craig, but we also have all these other speakers.
I certainly understand that. So I didn't get upset because I know some speakers, their heads would have exploded.
And we get a lot of those calls, but it's hard for us to keep up on our website. And sometimes that's where I say the trusting relationship. I'll send 4 or 5 ideas, and a lot of times I'll send it through our Speak Inc. link, but a lot of times I'll send it to the speaker's direct site because that's your site you're maintaining. We're maintaining 10,000 different speakers on a site. You just have that one site you're looking at. Your material's going to be better than ours a lot of the time, and just more relevant for the client. So a lot of times I'll just send it to your site directly, bureau friendly or not.
Right.
Because I know my client's going to call me back or you're going to call me and go, "Hey, they ended up calling me on this thing. Let's get the deal done."
Because that's the other thing is I get a call from a bureau, and they'll say, "Hey, are you available this date?" And I said, "Sure." And I go, "What's the company?" And they won't tell me. They'll tell me the industry. And I go, "Well, in this day and age, you kind of have to tell me because they may go around you."
I don't understand that, and even my speaking colleagues might get upset with this. I'm not a big holds guy. I don't really understand why you place a lot of holds.
Well, I don't mind the holds part, but it's
it's for a counter reference. But a lot of times I'll go, "Hey, are you available? December 12th? Yeah, okay, let's book it."
Yeah, but if it's like, "Oh, it's an insurance industry," really? Insurance industry? You don't think I'm going to get another call?
I want to tell you who it is. And
that way I don't accidentally steal your client.
I don't get that, but everyone's does it a little different.
And besides the unsolicited emails and kits that they have, what's the biggest mistake you see that the speakers make when they're dealing with a bureau?
A lot of it is, I think, after a booking, and I think this happens, they talk about it in NSA, where, now is, the spin business. How good to spin for? Is it good for 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, indefinite? And to me, I don't get it. You may put a 5-year, you want to put a 5-year clause in the contract. That's fine. I'm going to let you do what you want. But at the end of the day, I had a speaker recently who I booked like 12 years ago, came back and said, "Hey, Tim, I've got this thing, and it was a spin from this thing 12 years ago. And, I got the business from it. You think I'm going to send him out again? Over the guy with 5? Yes." And, I don't understand why there's this almost ants of why you should put a limit on it. And I just we want to make a trusting relationship. We want to build a win-win for everyone. So
so it's basically dibs. Dibs on clients. You find that a lot of speakers have a tendency to kind of get a little petty on it.
Yeah, and Don Hudson, who's been around a long time in the business, sales guru, I think he gets it. He's like, however the spins long it's good for, we're good at, and you tell me that's a penny from heaven. I get a call, 8 years ago from a business. Think I'm not going to keep sending him or her out again?
So you
of
definitely
course I am.
Yeah, so you definitely want to make sure that if you are speakers, because this is like I said, we want to make sure they get some good information. If you are a speaker, and the wonderful Tim Mathy calls and books you, and you do a good job, and you get spin, and then a couple of years go by, and that client calls again, but calls you direct. Bring it back to Tim.
Yeah, or even, they want to cut commission down on spin business because a lot of times they'll be working that lead.
Right.
And I get that, but after the follow, and I'll okay that, but, it still upsets me a bit because I got you that original business, and the reason you're following up is because they know who you are. more than they know me. If you want to send it to me, that's fine. I'll work it as much as I can. But if you're working, and that's kind of your decision to send back to me. We're not trying to cut you out here.
No, like I said, I know you guys. Like I said, I'm trying to be unbiased, but it's hard because you guys are good to me.
No, but speakers, we do. It's a win-win. We trust them.
Yeah,
we're talking about kind of the negative stuff, but
no, you can go. I'm a negative person.
Right.
Go ahead and do that.
Okay,
because it's important they know.
yeah, that's who we build our relationship
Sure.
with. That's why we're at NSA. Speaking's here, or I'm here for Speaking, because we want to continue building that relationship, trusting relationship. We don't get business out of NSA. We come here to kind of build relationships with those speakers we already work with to, continue making money together.
Now, most of your business is keynote, I'm assuming.
Correct.
But you do have the concurrent sessions,
Right.
That you book out, which I'll talk to you in a minute off radio about that. But you have concurrent sessions, but you also do like some training at times. Not necessarily a lot of it, but
We do.
But
And a lot of the training, too, comes from, when a speaker does a keynote, we'll get more than likely that training
Right.
stuff down the line, be it a later session or, same client down the road, and we work that out.
now, if you had a perfect client, because we're going to wrap this up, and I really appreciate you taking time. 'Cause
Oh,
I
it's
know
my pleasure.
You had a busy day today. You still got things going on. We are in your home state, so you probably want to go home at some point.
Yeah, I'm going to do a little surfing down here. But yeah.
Oh, really? You're a surfing guy?
I used to be, not as much anymore.
All
but-
right. And then, you're not the motorcycle guy, are you?
No, not the motorcycle.
Is that the?
That's Rich. Rich Gibbons. And
Yeah,
if you were interviewing Rich, this thing would take about 3 hours. He likes
That's
to talk.
fine. No, that's good. But I always remember one of the guys at Speak Inc. was a motorcycle dude.
He is a motorcycle dude.
Yeah. So and
You
you're the
just call,
surfer
just
dude.
call him the motorcycle dude.
Oh, I will.
I don't know what you call me, but
Well, now I'm going to call you the surfing
the
dude.
good-looking guy. I like to be referred to.
Oh, is that what it
yes,
is?
Yes.
Okay. And Tony White, what is?
Oh, he's a military guy.
Yeah,
Tony is our.
I love talking to him. He's so funny on the
our
phone. because
admin. He's our tech guru, but he is yes sir, no ma'am. He's a great military. Tony's a great addition to our staff.
He calls me sir all the time. Every time I talk to him, he calls me sir.
Yes.
And it's awkward because normally that's hey Craig and because I'm fairly young. I'm
Right.
still 37, but I'm getting into the mid ages of my life.
We're the similar age, and he calls me the same stuff.
And stop to be called sir.
Tony's been a phenomenal addition since he got out of the military some years ago. And he's a tech guru actually too. So he does a lot of work for us.
So, well, like I said, before we go, I want to make sure that when you talk about these concurrent sessions, do you try to, if I had, we'll just talk about it on air. What if I had a new program for you? So I'm a new speaker. I'm a speaker you've dealt with, and I've got some new
Right.
ideas for you. What would you like the best way to approach that? Just obviously an email first. 'cause
Email.
You're busy. And then a good call. So what are you going to be looking for on this new deal? What are the key things you're listening to when I start telling you about my great new process
It
or a new
sounds,
thing?
and we at Things Bureaus, we classify everything.
Because you get sold to every day.
Yeah, we classify everything in certain words. So we're looking for those almost like keywords, be it service, leadership, stress, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, technology. We look for these keywords, how we can classify that and present it to our clients.
So basically, it's always thinking about how you can turn that around and
Exactly.
serve it up.
How we can sell it to whoever, and a lot of times I'll be listening to certain speeches or whatever I'm listening to, and I start thinking of different clients I have on how that might pertain to them.
Well, I think I've kissed enough butt right now, and I do really appreciate you coming here.
No, my pleasure.
Tim.
Thanks for asking.
If anybody needs any help, they can always find speakinc.com.
Correct.
Do not call Tim directly unless you're looking to book somebody. If you are a speaker, please call Craig, and I will tell you, Tim's busy.
Exactly.
But I'll be
exactly.
glad to...
Call Tony, he'll call you sir or ma'am, so you're in good shape.
I'll be glad to screen some of those people going, Craig said to call you. You will not get those from me.
I appreciate it.
I'll only call you after an event, but I really appreciate it, and I appreciate your time.
Thanks for taking the time. Take care.
Well, I want to thank Tim for being on the show. I hope you got a lot out of that, especially if you're a speaker. You can't get better information than that on how to deal with a speakers bureau. You remember, you can always find me at Craig at speakercraigprice.com. RealityCheckPodcast.com is the website. You can sign up for the newsletter. We now have it set up so you can get the podcast emailed directly to you. So go to RealityCheckPodcast.com and learn all about us. See you next week.